Well, they have three parts to the day. So they have the video session, which involves some of our team play. We carry it over to on the ice. So in the practice, we're trying to implement some of our systems, some of our structure, because we play on Monday, some of the habits and details in our game. And then they have an off-ice workout as well. So it's a sort of a 3-hour package. A lot more probably systems and detail structure work to practice rather than skills early in these first few days, just to get the framework down. So we try and build off our video session, take it to the ice, and obviously get the pace, the tempo to where we want it.
Mike, I believe Eric Fair and Carter Rowney skated this morning earlier. Is that correct? And just any update on them?
No, they're just in a basic, not even with a coach. They're just skating. They're not on their own. They're with a skills coach who works as much as he can with what they're able to do right now. And so they're very limited role, not anywhere near practicing or anything.
Mike, has this process getting ready for this camp gone a little smoother or easier just with the planning you've been able to do in comparison to last year with your entire staff?
The big thing, I think, is that you know your group better and you know exactly what they need. Coming in last year, we knew what we wanted to do. We didn't know the group and sort of the needs of the group and where we needed to take the group. This year, we have a much better, clearer picture on sort of where those guys are at.
Coach, I know it's early, but what can guys show you throughout the course of, over this weekend, because he has a game starting next week, to try to leave an impression on the staff?
Yeah, a lot of times in training camp, you used to, years ago, it was all evaluation. Now training camp, like today's practice, there is evaluation in there. So what can they show us when we play a competitive game at the end with the defense and the forwards? We want to see some compete. We want to see some decision making out there. So we set up certain drills to show us some things, and then some other drills are more just to get ingrained in our habits and our details in our game. So I would say out there today there's probably 3 really good evaluation drills. So management watching up top, coaches on the ice can get a good feel for the players in those drills. Other than that, it was just mainly in framework.
Hopefully, too, if I can, when will you start to work seriously on the power play with the new people that you have and try to crystallize that? At what is your timetable for doing that? And second, I'm sure you've already done this, but for our sakes, can you comment on Johnstown?
Okay. First on the power play tomorrow. So what you're going to see in practice tomorrow, you'll see 45 minutes of practice. They'll flip ice surfaces, and it'll be a half hour of power play PK scrimmage. So all our players will be on the power play. All will be on the penalty kill. So we have several openings on the PK this year because of turnover and personnel. So we want to tomorrow in that 30 minutes get a good evaluation on the power play players, but also on guys killing penalties. So they're going to flip to the penalty kill. So it'll be a little bit of a competition between 2 teams on the other ice, but it'll be primarily focused on power play breakouts, power play execution, and the penalty kill framework in the zone. On the Johnstown game, it's exciting. When you look at a schedule for exhibition, that game there just jumps out just because of the history of Johnstown and obviously the movie, and it makes it a little bit more exciting and a little bit more fun when you're heading in for a game in that type of atmosphere. So for our players that'll be playing in the game and the guys who are playing the night before in the Quebec game, it's a little bit different in your schedule. But Johnstown being so close, Tampa and us playing against each other, it should be exciting for the community. And I think in those types of Hockeyville situations, you see the community really rally around the game, which is kind of nice in training camp, that type of energy around a hockey game like that.
Do you have to go make sure you see the dog that saved Charlestown in the flood? Oh, never mind. But this is sort of like the Mike's first question. You've got the core guys here, and yet there's really been an influx, a lot of new players, and even guys that were injured last year that weren't part of it. How tough is it going to be to make evaluations? I know you probably have a pretty good idea, but how tough is it going to make some evaluations with so many new faces?
I don't think it's going to be hard to make evaluations because, as I said, every day the drills will lead to an evaluation. The games are going to give us an evaluation of where everybody's at. It's a matter of starting to fit some pieces together, the power play together, penalty killing pairs that play well together, lines, certainly defense pairs. Those are going to be the challenging things as we move along that we've really got to get a good handle on. So we take a look at these two guys on defense together one game, and we switch it with another guy. We like the first pair better. We probably go back to that first pair game for the third game. A lot of guys will play 4 games, so we'll see them in a fair number of games and practices over the next several weeks to do that evaluation.
When you talk about evaluation, I wonder if it's different with a guy like Gonchar, who has such a large body of work.
Oh, over the history of his play. Yeah, guys like that you know from around the league, and Benino or Fair's not practicing, but guys who you know well, yeah, you have a better idea. But there's a lot of players here in camp that we saw on 2 or 3 games last year that come up from the American League that I think right now are going to push for spots. They're close. They've improved a lot. They played well in the London tournament, some of these young guys, both on defense and up front. So I'm looking forward to seeing these guys in some real game action. And then we have some other depth players from organizations that we've acquired that are going to push in that same frame. They're guys who are going to bump for ice time, for starting lineup, for a call-up guy.
Mike, you mentioned a couple of guys came up from the AHL last year that impressed you for a couple of games. Does Dominic Ewer fit in that description? And where is his place in the organization right now?
Yeah, Dominic's a real consistent player, and you can see it out there today. For me, he's a worker. He's an energy guy. He's safe and responsible in all areas of his game. He's not going to create a lot of offense, but he does get in on the forecheck, and he plays a good game, good working game. So when you're looking for a player to call up in those as that type of player, energy, worker, a forecheck, responsible, kill penalties, he's that type of guy. And I thought today he looked really good in the first practice. We didn't see him in a lot of games last year, and we called him up, not a lot of minutes. But still, I know him as a player because he played in Spokane when I was in the Western League, so I have a little bit more of a background on him.